commander here in London of the Kentucky State Police. First of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you all for coming here today. It means a whole lot to every one of us. I personally know most of the folks here, and I know what this means to them. Every single person that is here today is here because autism has affected them in one way or another. Whether you're here to support family or friends, autism has affected you. Whether you're here to report this as a community event, autism has affected you. No matter what the reason that you're here today, autism has affected you in some way, shape, or form. My journey with autism started about 7 years ago. And this is kind of difficult for me because my nephew, who I love dearly, has autism. I have learned through the last 7 years that with my nephew and with several friends who have children and family members who have autism, that even though our loved ones have autism, autism absolutely does not have them. Sometimes there are labels, sometimes there are different ideas about what autism is, and we're going to exceed every one of those. We're going to beat every one of those. I want to talk to you real quickly about two things. I'll take 3 or 4 more minutes, and that's about it. Number 1 is awareness, and number 2 is hope. And both of these things are intertwined. Awareness is what we're doing here today, or part of what we're doing here today anyway. Awareness is about educating people, making sure we make a better world for our loved ones and for us too. I know in dealing with autism on a regular basis that sometimes people have some false ideas. There's some real strange ideas about what autism is, what it's not. And I know some of you all have really got some strange questions, and sometimes you step back and it makes you mad, especially when someone is talking about your child and asking these questions. But I'll tell you this, step back, take a deep breath, educate these people, tell them what autism is about. Tell them what it is, what it isn't. They'll tell someone else, and they'll tell someone else, and in the long run, it will make our world a better place for our loved ones and our children. Next is hope. I'll tell you about hope. This is big to me. This should be big to you all. I know some of you have started early in this process. Some of you have probably just found out that your children have autism or a loved one has autism. I'll tell you real quickly about my nephew. Several years ago, I was in Cincinnati with my brother and my sister-in-law when they got that diagnosis of autism. And doing this job, I've seen a lot of horrible things. I've seen death and destruction. I've seen some horrible things, but always I know what the process is. I know we go A, B, C, D. Let's do this, let's do that, and let's do this over here. That day when they gave us that prognosis, when they gave us that diagnosis, we didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to comfort my brother. I didn't know how to comfort my sister-in-law. I didn't know what to do. But I'm going to tell you something. That was several years ago. And even though they put fences up and they limited my nephew and they said what he could and couldn't do, he's only 7 now, and he has overcame almost every single one of those obstacles. So there is hope. Do not let that diagnosis hold you back. Do not let it limit you or limit your child or your loved one in any way. I'll also tell you, and this is no coincidence, I got a call last night from a friend of mine, and we were talking about the autism walk. The funny thing is I've been around this person for the last couple of years, and they have a child. And that child is probably about 12 years old now, and it's the child that I'll go, my little girl's 8 years old, and I'll go, hey, will you watch my child? Will you watch my 8-year? Oh, absolutely. Have the older one watch the younger one. Told me last night that their child was autistic, that in the beginning they had some of the same warning signs. The child couldn't speak, missed all these different milestones, but now that child, I've been around that child for 2 years, I had no clue that that child had autism. Finally, I would say that there are so many people out there that have made so many great contributions that have autism, that have dealt with autism. The creator of Pokemon has autism. There are numerous authors out there that have autism. Autism has only been an official diagnosis probably since around the 1940s. Looking back on history, it appears that one of the greatest minds of all time, Albert Einstein, had the classic symptoms of autism. So there's hope out there. So I just say enjoy this beautiful day. Thank you every single one for coming. Enjoy the fellowship. Coming up next is Miss Casey Bolton.